Hi, good morning, everyone. Welcome again, and thanks for joining me today in this webinar. I'm Olive. I'm taking care of the Ipsos Community Solutions under Ipsos UUT. And with using the solutions, today I would like to share with you the 5 healthy food trends in Hong Kong. So this webinar aims to provide you an overview of the healthy food and drink trends, as well as the signal on the horizons. Findings from these webinars are relying on the global and local Ipsos survey, as well as our proprietary Ipsos community panel Speak Easy, which is an instant community tool we use to collect consumers' feedback. And it is it allows us to have interactive deep dive with the local consumers. Through blending in the quantitative studies with the instant community, it allows us to identify some macro forces related to food and drinks. And Speakeasy was launched last year, and our clients love these solutions very much because it allows them to engage with the consumers in a unique environment. It can customize according to your brands, your categories, or your business objective needs. And the platform also allows us to collect multimedia responses, including audio, text, photos, or videos. And consumers can just access the platform through a computer and mobile and share their opinions with us at their fingertips. So I also want to highlight that this instance community is only part of our much larger community over within Ipsos. So apart from the instance community, we also offer customizable solutions to our clients with a wide variety of shapes and size to address all business needs. It includes pop-up community, which lasts usually less than 6 months, to an ongoing community, which require much more effort and engagement from you as well as the panel members. So if you are interested to find out more about these solutions, just feel free to contact me after this event and I can share more information with you. So brands nowadays are talking more about sustainability, but what does the consumer's point of view about it? In 2015, world leaders agreed to 17 goals for a better world by 2030. They are referred to as the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. And they engage all sorts of parties such as the governments, the private sectors, civil society, and the citizens to achieve a better and more sustainable future for all. Ipsos studies how consumers in 29 markets globally prioritizing these issues in earlier this year. And overall, good health and well-being are ranked as the third most important issues within these markets. While in Hong Kong, it's ranked as the fourth, showing that local consumers are interested in the well-being and living a healthier lives. And all these attitudes are also translate into new behaviors. And indeed, in the June wave of our Hong Kong consumption trackers, almost 2/3 of the population claim that they've purchased health products and supplements in the past months. As we now see, there is a macro forces to push the Hong Kong consumers to live a healthier life, especially when it comes to foods and drinks. Such macro force could have a long-term impact on society, and it may influence our cultural attitudes and values as well. So for today, we have selected what we see as the 5 growing food trends in the Hong Kong market. First of all, there is a growth on different dietary measures. And through our deep dive discussions with local consumers, we have observed three growing dietary trends in Hong Kong. The most common one being the low carbohydrate diet. It ranged from just a reduction of carbohydrate consumption, such as eating less rice or noodles, to a more advanced one, such as keto diet plans. And this is the most important to note that many consumers are foregoing rice or noodles in their meals when these ingredients are traditionally very important in Chinese or Asian culture. And other dietary measures, such as trending, is the intermittent fasting diet, especially the time-restricted diet such as 16 to 8-hour fasting. It is seen as a more balanced diet to the consumers, as there is no restrictions on types or amount of food that they can personally consume within the eatable time frame. And such flexibility makes the plan relatively easy to follow for them. And more consumers are also adopting or discussing a vegan diet. According to our Hong Kong consumption tracker survey, 28% of the Gen Z and millennials claims to follow a vegetarian diet, while amongst them consider themselves as a vegan, and 22 as a flexitarian, which they may also eat meat or fish occasionally. These trends shows that there is room for retailers and restaurants to adopt further to a fast-changing eating habit in Hong Kong. And next, let's take a look on why do these consumers adopting such a dietary change. A majority of the population made the changes dietary habits because of their health as well as for the environment. Health is believed to be an individual responsibility. Changing food and drink diet habits feel more tangible and easier for consumers to act upon. So, apart from the physical enhancement goals, such as weight control or meet the fitness goals, consumers change their dietary habits to revitalize their mental well-being, like what we see in the quote here. People sharing that eating light might help them to cope with the workload and give them a clear mind. And environmental issues are believed to be a shared responsibilities between different parties, including the individuals, the politicians, as well as the community. So protecting the environment, as in reducing the carbon or greenhouse gases emissions, is perceived as an added value for the consumers while they are maintaining their health. And actually, 69% agree that they will seek out products which are better for the environment. A few would like to soothe existing health problems while adopting a change on the dietary, mainly to fight against the diabetes or to adopt a lighter type diet after surgery. As we can see in the quote, a community member shared with us that after a serious illness, they've made changes on their dietary habits due to digestibility. But one thing seems interesting to me is very few of them worried about malnutrition. But I think less thanks for the information's accessibility nowadays, that people can still maintain a balanced health even though they are giving up some certain kind of nutrition. The second local trend here we want to discuss about is all about the selections of ingredients and how consumers are choosing more carefully and consider every aspect of them to ensure it is correct and a safe choice. Looking at the numbers from our Hong Kong consumption trackers, we can see a regular increase in the number of people consuming more natural and organic food. from 41% at the beginning of this year to 50% in June. And while we are talking to the local consumers, we observe that the words natural, they've mentioned it very often in their discussions. But in fact, it hides many different meanings and recipe behind. And here are some of the examples from the community members on the choice of ingredients and products. In fact, Hong Kong consumers are now looking beyond the word natural or organic, as they are keen to learn more about what's behind the scene, such as who makes it, or how it is grown, or how it is made, etc. So therefore, to have our consumer trust and buy in our products, it is extremely important to be transparent. So after more deep dive discussions with the local consumers, we gather their feedback on the keywords they found most relevant and credible. So some example here, they might look for the expression like no grown hormones or free range when they are buying chickens. So apart from health, some were also concerned about whether the chicken were raised ethically. In terms of country of origin, it is also very critical in Hong Kong, as consumers give more attention to local and imported ingredients, especially those from Taiwan, Japan, Australia, or other European countries. And apart from feeling more confident about their safety, their strong desire to buy these imported food or ingredients, also driven by their taste taste or flavor about exotic. As most Hong Kong people are not being able to travel around nowadays. So apart from ordinary food ingredients, we observe a rise of food technology products as a substitute for meals. As our local survey shows, plant-based meats and plant-based meals have gained most recognition and acceptance amongst the consumers. Around 1/3 of them have tried these products, and 1/3 of them are interested in trying these meat-free ingredients. Indeed, these new options of ingredients allow consumers to personalize their dishes with reference to their own needs. And on a separate note, the free from trend is indeed on the rise globally, and foodstuffs designed to help those who might exclude certain ingredients from their diet are rapidly becoming more popular. These free from trends is also illustrated by the success of gluten-free or lactose-free items, which traditionally their medically prescribed diets are becoming more self-adopt well-being regimen. Storytelling and strong narrative are crucial to gain success in the market going forward. Our global research has found that 56% of the global consumers said that the storytelling behind a brand do influence purchase decisions. And this is the same for ingredients and food products. The main reasons consumers want to know the story behind food products is related to their productions and origins. Here are 3 examples of how to link the ingredients with stories or that consumers are interested in. As we can see, some consumers associate food technology products with a way to eliminate killings, reduce CO2 emissions, induce less sufferings to animals, or even reduce pressures from arable lands. They make deep and conscious decisions to change their dietary habits. And today, brands must link their products to these narratives, as well as offering a guarantee on taste. And consumers are actually demanding much more information about the products than retailers have historically given in the past. And we can expect more innovative ideas on how to communicate with the consumers from about the value of food from farm to the dining tables very soon. I'm not sure if you're aware that people are looking for less sugar consumptions in recent years. And yes, and sugar reductions is the third trend that I would like to discuss with you. In our global study, 61% of the Hong Kong populations reduced sugar intake in order to maintain body weight. And it will benefit their energy level and maintain a stable mood. And consumers are clearly seeing a linkage between excessive sugar consumptions and health. And they know that they have a personal responsibility to reduce sugar intake if they want to maintain their well-being. However, there are several challenges that an individual is facing. The biggest challenge is that humans could be contradicting between their own intentions versus their behavior. This is why you can always hear from your friends that they have failed in their diet or giving up smoking or even exercising regularly. It actually requires much efforts to put into planning and thinking through the strategies. But after an initial burst of focus or enthusiasm, we often refer to our normal practice. And also, humans have a tendency to follow others, driven by a desire to fit in. And it is hard sometimes. And we also need to factor in the effect of optimism bias, a belief that you are less at risk of something than most other people. Like you are very used to certain kind of bad diet and less likely to get sick out of it because your body is already adapted to it. An individual would believe that they are less vulnerable to consequence and hence putting off making any changes out of it. And consumers generally have very low awareness of the sugar level of different kind of products. Just take an example out of our daily life. Let's talk, and we can take a look on the 330 ml can of carbohydrate soft drinks. I think most of the consumers are unable to roughly estimate the sugar content, and their judgment on sugar level is very low for most of the food and ingredients in their daily life. So reducing their intake of sugar is one of the priority of the consumers. But behaviors changes is slowed down by addictions and habits. At this point, the food and drink manufacturers has a role to play in this process. And here are the opportunity to take more proactive role in leading the initiative to create a healthier populations that would build consumers' trust and confidence. The food manufacturers are expected to take actions through reformulations to reduce sugar or to replace sugar with alternative sweeteners. And reformulations thus face a major obstacles as some of the consumers share concerns, particularly in related to taste. As an example, some people might prefer Coca-Cola Origins than Coca-Cola Zero. And also, the perceived health and safety of sugar substitutes are on the radar as well. And reducing pack size in confectionery has been happening over the past few years. And one thing that manufacturers will need to bear in mind that consumers are willing to give up less, willing to have less confectionery, but they are not willing to give up the trade-off with the quality or indulgence. And labeling is a high complex area. This is yet to be there is yet to be a solution truly simple, intuitive, and engaging the consumers. If the labeling solutions is too simple, it's often left to open interpretations from the consumers. On the other hand, if there is too much information on the labeling, consumers are struggles to understand and contextualize the meaning of it, out of it. So it is accepted that some level of education is required, and this certainly required manufacturers to play a role in it. Now let's come to the fourth trend we would like to share today, which is about the new home chef trend in Hong Kong. One of the reasons cooking and dining at home might become long-lasting habits is that cooking is increasingly perceived as hobbies and not a course. Following the start of the COVID, the new normal in Hong Kong has meant more snacking, and consumers are using food or cooking as a connection point with the life that it used to be. And over the past few years, there has been a rise in the numbers of consumers which can be categorized as foodie. They deeply interested in exploring the world of food and paying a lot of attention to ingredients and authenticity. They like to cook and share their cooking with guests as much as they love to eat good food themselves. And many got equipped with new tools or small cooking appliances during COVID, such as Brunos or air fryers, etc., and start incorporating new food within their existing meals, like dishes from across the regions, and thus honor their cooking skills. Those consumers are willing to invest more for better ingredients, and they are keen to equip themselves with with a good variety of cookwares. And as you can see on these slides, we have collected some photos from the community members about what are the dishes that they make at home. You can see that they are making some very challenging and nice dishes on it, such as the rice burger or the beef briskets, which usually require a lot of preparation time. And they are showing us the new small cooking appliance that they use at home as well. So as a part of our deep dive with the consumers in our instant community, we set out a fun challenge for them. And we invite the community members to use the food technology products, such as the plant-based meat or milk, and challenge them to use these to make a dish at home. On this slide, you can see what one of our community members creates using omnipork and lettuce wraps. And not only did she make a light dish, but she has also shared with us step-by-step procedures in photos, along with her personal comments on the taste and the texture of omniporks. And this demonstrates to us that how deep insight we can get out of the community members. Our final trend, somewhat opposed to the previous one, look at out-of-home behaviors. While some consumers have found themselves passions for cooking, out-of-home is accountable for 2/3 of food and drink business in Hong Kong. As our local consumers trackers shows, it is a fact that out-of-home food consumptions will not eliminate in Hong Kong due to scarcity of time and experience. And some community members share with us that they have to go with these options due to irregular living schedule. And it is hard for them to squeeze time out of their long working hours and the multiple roles they have to play at home. And it prohibited them to enjoy cooking. While some younger community members also share with us that they lived in a small apartment and grew up with their family's members. So they have always been taken care of and don't have any chance to practice their cooking skills. But in the short run, a majority transformations on food service business was already under the way before the COVID outbreak. Meanwhile, safety issues are still influencing the restaurant's business. And restaurants using apps for ordering or paying have been exploited and will remain in the market for a while. And before I close the sections, I would like to share with you 3 main points on our takeaway menu today. And with reference to Trend 1 and Trend 2 on the dietary habits, enabling your customers to build their diet or recipe preference have been a fascinating experience. People love the concept of personalizing an item or a dish and make it in their own way. These also steps into personalized nutrition, which have already reflected in the dietary preference, shopping behavior, food preparation skills, and technology. And traditionally, health products are perceived to be scarce and expensive. They need to visit specific shops to get organic or natural food. But we can see manufacturers are trying to improve on the situations as we have a wider choice for consumers in a more accessible way, such as the supermarkets. It benefits the home chef a lot, and which they usually have a high expectations on quality and affordability on ingredients. And finally, it's ever more important for manufacturers to stress on health and well-being than before. So it is important to link your products to these aspects, especially for category which is traditionally perceived to be unhealthy, like the confectionery or soft drink. Consumers are increasingly expecting more food and beverages in terms of understanding consumers' health and wellness needs and provide clear and differentiated solutions supported by reasons to believe. And don't ignore the transparency imperative. And with these, I would like to thank you for your time for joining this webinar. And I would like to remind you that I will answer, if you have any questions, feel free to type it in the chat box now, and I'll answer all your questions in a separate email. I'll also share with you the deck, and I would love to hear your feedback afterwards. Thank you for your time and stay healthy.